That's nice.
What's up guys, it's RevJ again, and I'm back out with the frame on the Hatredcopter C10. I needed a way to mount my new fuel tank, so I put it up on a jack at the right height and grabbed some 1/2-inch square tube to start making a frame. I tacked up a super basic skeleton to hold the fuel cell in place, and I could start workshopping the idea from there. Using square tube left a lot of open box ends, so I came back and plated over all the open holes. Then I could start working on some angle brackets to hold this skeleton to the cross members. With the whole assembly supported on the jack again, I could lay out the front two brackets and tack them into place. With the front secure, I could turn my attention to laying out the braces for the rear. I extended the rear legs with some square tube, and I didn't show it here, but I added a gusset plate to the joint. Once all 4 brackets were in place, I could cut down any overhangs and plate any existing holes.
Alright, so I've got this pretty much all base tacked up here, and it's actually fully welded, but it's still got to be blended and cleaned up. There's a lot more to do before it ever gets installed. But we have sort of our preliminary exo cage holder thing here ready to go in the back. I've got the tabs that we bent up on all 4 corners. These 2 here are vertical. You've got these other 2 flipped because they go on the other cross member. Little cross brace in the base there. I did make sure this thing was squared up in all directions and stuff like that. It's actually not perfect in one direction, and that's because the angle that these go up actually isn't perfect. If you look, the brackets are offset out just a touch. In the close-up, it'll be a little easier to see. So, for now, we can go ahead and test this thing and make sure that it still fits in the area we wanted it to. I'm pretty optimistic.
Time for the first test fit, and everything slides in smooth. I plan on bolting this to the frame, so I'm grabbing my 3/8 24 fine tap, the matching drill bit, and the associated hardware. Going with a fine thread bolt lets me get more threads into the material thickness of the frame. The fuel cell's gotta come out, so I have enough room to drill the rear 2 bolt holes. For what it's worth, having the correct T-handle makes tapping holes like this straight way easier. I can't find mine, so I was stuck using an adjustable wrench. With all 4 bolts in place, the clamps can come off and my new frame is securely held in.
Alright, back over to the workbench. And here is the top strap. Now, if this looks at all familiar to you, it's because it's a modified version of the top strap that used to be on the old fuel cell on the 66.
I see you hiding in there. I see you hiding in that old fuel cell. Someday we'll save you.
Anyway, so it's just a thin gauge piece of material, fairly bendable, and it was just used to secure the old tank from the top. Now, well, that's all we needed to do again. So it didn't used to have any bends in it really at all, had a little something on the end where the tab hooked up. I've modified it slightly. This end here where the old tab used to bolt on, as you can see, has been kind of hooked over. That hook is just a little larger than the diameter of the 1/2-inch square tube, so it sets in there nice and tight like that. And on this end, we went ahead and just put a little sort of S-bend into it to make up for the height of the frame. And I have a 3/8 24 piece of hardware in it. This one happens to be an Allen head screw. I might swap it out with one of the other ones that I already have. So I'll throw the fuel tank back in and show you guys how this works.
Fabrication and mock-up is done, so I can move on to blending and smoothing, starting off with a flapper disc and a wire wheel to clean up the surface. The whole thing gets washed and wiped down with degreaser. Then I can start in with a few coats of epoxy primer before my top coat of satin black. The aluminum tank would rattle around and chip the paint finish on the skeleton, so I'm using some silicone pad and some Loctite weather strip adhesive to hold everything in place. And once everything is set up, I can install the tank into its new frame. And then the whole thing is ready to bolt back into the new frame. If you didn't watch the frame rebuild video, definitely go do that now. I'll have links in the description below. As a matter of fact, go check out all the new progress. I've got the Rebuild Everything playlist, the Hatred Copter playlist, my build over on the 67 to 72 Chevy truck forums. We're making so much progress now that the videos are getting a little delayed, so if you want to see this stuff right as it happens, definitely check out the social media. There's way more coming, more progress on the Hatred Copter, more on the Rebuild Everything Yukon, more from friends of the channel, and lots more cool, fun stuff. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe, and thanks for watching, guys.